let's get started because we've got a lot of questions already that have already come in. So number one, someone asked, how can I raise money to start my line? So the easiest way, in my opinion, to raise money to start your fashion line is crowdfunding. So investors most likely are not going to invest in your startup because you have no sales. You have no proven model of success. They want to see that you have sales, that you have a proven model, that people actually want what it is you're making. So investors are not going to fund your startup. Banks aren't loaning like they used to because of everything that's gone on with banks in the last couple of years. So it's very difficult to go that route. And why would you want to give up equity in your business or have to pay back a bank loan at a really high interest anyway, when you can simply do crowdfunding, which you don't have to give up equity, you don't have to pay any interest. So it's really a win-win situation. We have a lot of our clients that are doing crowdfunding campaigns. I just had a client that raised over $20,000 for his startup. So it's very simple to do. I won't say it's easy because it does take a lot of work and effort. But at the end of the day, again, you're getting money for free, no interest. You're not giving up equity. You can raise $500,000 easily, and there's plenty of fashion companies that have done it. So I do highly recommend crowdfunding. I recommend it so much. We have an entire online course called Cracking the Crowdfunding Code, which you can sign up for on our website, fashionangelwarrior.com/crowdfunding. And in that course, we go over the exact strategy, how to create your rewards, what exactly you need to have in your videos to make it really successful, exactly how to set up your campaign, what to do when, how to plan it out, how to even keep those rewards coming in even after campaign is over, or keep the donations coming in, I should say, after the campaign is over, and so much more. So if you're interested in doing a crowdfunding campaign, I definitely recommend you take the class. Hi, Elena. Hi, Daisy. Nice to see you ladies on. Definitely give me your hearts. Give me your thumbs up as we're going along. If you do have any questions, just type them in the box and I'll try to get to all of them. So hopefully that answers your question. The next question I received lately was, what's the difference between an NDA and a non-compete? And can I ask my manufacturer to sign one of these things? So an NDA is really what's called a non-disclosure agreement. That's what NDA stands for. And really all it's saying is that you don't want your manufacturer or whoever to disclose any of your information, right? You want your ideas protected. You basically don't want them sharing anything with anyone, that sort of thing, okay? A non-compete is totally different. A non-compete basically says you don't want your manufacturer making or working with someone that's doing exactly what you're doing. So let's say you're doing a line of leggings. You're basically asking your manufacturer not to produce another line of leggings for another company or work with another company that's doing a line of leggings. That's a pretty ballsy move to ask your manufacturer to not compete with what you're doing. Okay, most likely you're not giving enough orders to your manufacturer to even warrant making that request. And also keep in mind, most manufacturers are not going to sign an NDA. They're definitely not going to sign a non-compete because they don't have control over who sees what when the people come into their factory. I go into factories all day long. I see all types of products. There's no way for them to control who's coming in, who's seeing it, their workers are seeing it, etc. So most of the manufacturers I work with are not willing to sign them. They won't sign them. You a lot of times will look like a newbie if you ask your manufacturer to sign it. So I just recommend don't go that route. Also, you don't really need a work for hire. Someone asked me one time if a work for hire is appropriate for a manufacturer. Work for hire agreements basically just say that, you know, you're hiring this company to do work for you and that the work that they're doing is owned by you, that you have all the rights. Now, if they're a reputable company and you pay them, they will certainly give you all of the stuff that they're creating for you. So if they're creating patterns, if they're creating samples, those are all your property. You own that stuff. So as long as you're paying them, that belongs to you and you should be able to get it. Now, if you're not paying them, that's a different story. They might hold those things hostage until you do actually pay them because you haven't paid them for their work. So of course, they're not going to give it over to you. Now, keep in mind, I've had a lot of clients come to me that said, oh, my manufacturer stole my patterns. They won't give me my patterns, etc. And there are a lot of shady companies out there, which is why I only recommend that you work with the people that I work with, because I know them, I trust them. There are preferred vendors and suppliers for a reason. And actually, if you'd want a list of our 50 top preferred vendors and suppliers, or if you want to see and visit our preferred vendors and suppliers, I highly recommend you come on our New York City or LA Fashion District Manufacturing Tour. There's one coming up this Thursday. We actually have 2 spots left. It was sold out and then 2 people canceled. So if anyone's still interested in coming this Thursday, there's 2 spots left, and you can sign up at fashiontour15.eventbrite.com. Okay, Daniela, I saw you have a question. I'm going to get to your question at the end, so just retype it in for me if I can't, if it scrolls down too long. Okay, next question. How do I know if a social media manager is good or not? This is a very, very good question. So first, I always recommend that you actually learn what it is you need to be doing on social media first, because if you don't know what to do, how are you possibly going to hire someone else to do it for you and know that they're actually doing a good job? Otherwise, you're just throwing money out the window, hoping that what they're actually doing is good. So my opinion, you should first learn yourself, which is why we have online courses, which is why we work with our clients one-on-one. We do Instagram audits, we do Instagram strategy, we work with Facebook ads with our one-on-one clients. We have an online course called Mastering Digital Marketing, which talks all about social media. We even give you a cheat sheet of over 16 questions to ask a social media manager when you're working with them to see if they're actually good. It's also why we've already personally vetted our own social media management company, so that we can help you in that area and you don't have to worry about what questions to ask. But if you do want to know some of the good questions to ask, we'll go over a couple of them now. So number one, you definitely should ask the question of the social media manager, well, what's your opinion? What should my company be doing online? Like, what platforms should my business be on? And they should be able to explain to you which ones you should be on and why. Like, maybe they think you should be on Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube. But then ask them why. Why do you think those platforms are the best for my business? So you want to hire someone and work with someone that actually has an understanding of your business, who your target customer is, where your sales are coming from, all of that stuff. Because if they don't understand your business, it can be really hard for them to manage your social media. Another good question you should ask them is, how do they measure ROI? How are they measuring the return on investment? What tools are they actually using? If they're only using the tools that are already available within Instagram, within Facebook, etc., that's kind of not enough. Like, there needs to be something else that they're using on top of that to really give you the best return. I don't like it when people are just spitting out information to me that I already can find myself on my own platforms. Like, if they're a social media management company, they should be actually producing more results for you, more data, more statistics, I should say, on top of what can already be found, okay? And then the last question, and of course, you want them to go beyond just likes. If someone's talking about, oh, we can get you 500 likes, we can get you 1,000 likes, I could freaking care less. I don't want likes, I want engagement, and I want sales. That's it, okay? Likes don't get me engagement and sales. So I could have 1,000 likes, no engagement, no sales. So if you're paying for something, you definitely want, at the end of the day, engagement and sales, and you want to know how they're actually going to produce that for you. And lastly, you always want to look at their own social media profile. So if they're claiming, oh, they're the queen of Instagram, but their Instagram profile sucks, you probably don't want to hire them for Instagram management. So that's dead giveaway for sure. So definitely take a moment to look at their own profile and then look at some of their customer profiles. And again, we have over 16 different questions that you can ask a social media manager inside of our digital marketing course that you can go to fashionninjawarrior.com/digital to sign up for. And then of course, we also have our own social media managers that are already vetted, I know, I trust them, they're awesome, that you can work with on a monthly basis to get your social media going. So that's definitely an option as well. Okay, hi Precious, how are you? Okay, next question. Are you guys loving this information? Give me your hearts, give me your thumbs up. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know if this is helpful. Let me know, please let me know. It's always better when I can talk and hear from you instead of just talking the entire time myself, because then it's kind of boring. Yelena says, yes, thumbs up. Okay, awesome. We're getting some hearts. Awesome. Okay. So next question that has come along the pipeline, is blogging still relevant? Yes, absolutely. 110%. Blogging is still relevant today, people. Your blog is still one of the #1 ways to drive traffic to your online store. When you have an online store, trust me, if you haven't launched yet, you will find this out when you do launch. People don't just magically find you online. You have to do a lot of things, and blogging is one of them in order to get people to find your website. So a blog is definitely going to help you drive traffic to your website. When I started blogging on a consistent basis, and I'm just talking about once a week. If you blog once a week, that's great. Start out with once a month if that's too much for you. But if you blog once a week, you will see your website traffic triple, quadruple, times 10. Like, it's crazy how much traffic actually goes to your website from your blog. Also, it kind of gives you something to talk about on social media. So instead of just posting all the time, hey, buy my stuff. Oh, we're having a sale, 4th of July sale, Labor Day sale, 10% off. No one wants to hear about that stuff. They want to see that you're providing value. Why do I do these Facebook Lives for free? Because I'm providing valuable information to you guys, right? It's not because I have a ton of free time on my hands and I can just use it up however I like. Trust me, I don't have the time to do these. But I do them because I want to provide value to you guys. So it's the same thing. You want to provide value to your customers, okay? So your blog is one way to do that. And there's over 12 different things that you can actually blog about. Believe it or not, you don't even have to have a product in order to get started. So I do recommend, if you're working on your fashion line, get the blog going now to start driving the traffic to your website. Get an email capture box up on your website and on your blog. And that way you can start building your tribe and building your following before you even launch, so that when you do launch, you have people to actually launch to that are ready to buy your product. But one of the things that you can blog about, I will give you one tip right now, is to talk about other influencers. So let's say you're doing a handbag line, right? You have no handbags, you're working on your line, you have nothing to show, right? You can do a blog called Top 10 Handbag Blogs to Follow, right? And then all you do is put links to those other 10 handbag blogs in your blog, and then you post it on social media and you give all those blog writers a shout out on social media. They're going to go crazy. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, who's this person that wrote about me in my blog, blah, blah, blah. They're going to then, give you a shout out or possibly post it on their social media. They may even promote it on their blog and put a backlink to your website saying, hey, look, we were featured on so-and-so's blog, check it out, which is great because backlinks are super, super awesome for SEO purposes, okay? The more backlinks you have, the more Google loves you, the more they put you at the top of the list. So definitely doing some kind of blog like that would be awesome. And it's good to work with the smaller brands. Like, don't go after the large blogs that are like inundated and everybody knows about them. Go for like the smaller blogs because they're going to appreciate that you're talking about them way more than the bigger guys. And they're more likely to reciprocate and actually post something about you or give you a shout out or post something on their blog about your blog, etc. Also, if you're thinking about like trying to get into a magazine, find out who the stylist is. Start promoting, start giving a shout out to the magazine on social media. Start giving a shout out to the stylist on social media. The more you start giving a shout out to these people, the more likely they're actually going to mention you in the magazine and possibly put your product in there. So it's a great way to get your stuff in magazines and get a lot of press. So your blog can do so many things, trust me. And we go over a ton more ideas of things you can post inside your blog inside our Mastering Digital Marketing online course. And there's a link in the bio, fashionninjawarrior.com/digital. Rosie wants to know, is there a specific way to set up a blog? You mean which platform you should use, Rosie? I think that's what you're asking me. So there's many different platforms to set up your blog. I prefer WordPress specifically for blog websites, only because it's the best for SEO. But if you're doing e-commerce, you probably want to go with Shopify, and Shopify has a blog part on their website already. So you don't need Shopify and WordPress. That gets a little tricky and complicated and unnecessary. So just go with Shopify. So if you're doing e-commerce, which I'm assuming you are because you have a fashion line, just go with Shopify. Don't worry about doing another blogging website and use Shopify for your blog as well. Okay? Awesome. Okay. Our next question comes from Linda. She wants to have a better understanding of digitizing patterns must each size be separately digitized? Okay, Linda, so ideally you're gonna make your first paper pattern. Most likely it's paper I'm saying because you're asking me about digitizing. So let's say you have a pattern maker or you're making it yourself, whatever the case, you made your paper pattern in your sample size, whatever that is, size 6, size 8, whatever your sample size is. You're gonna take that paper pattern once it's perfected, once you fit it on a model, once you've made all your corrections, you're good to go, you love it, you have your fabric, everything. You're gonna take that paper pattern, digitize it into a system, and then from there, you're gonna grade that pattern in the computer to all of your other sizes. So you're technically only digitizing the one size, the sample size. Once you have that digitized in your computer, that's all you need to do because the grading will be so much more easier once you do it in the computer. If you're doing grading by hand, that is very tedious, very time consuming, and very costly. So I don't recommend grading by hand. I recommend doing it in the computer once you already have your pattern digitized. So I hope that's helpful, Linda. I don't know if Linda's on tonight, but she'll hopefully watch this recording. Okay. And then Yelena, I think Yelena's on. She had a bunch of great questions. Number one, is it best to start with a full activewear collection when we're starting our business or a mini collection of 5 to 6 pieces, mix and match in different colors and prints? So typically, Yelena, I do recommend starting with a smaller collection. 5 to 6 pieces is great. You can always mix and match in different colors, different prints, even sometimes different fabrications to make the line look more robust than it really is. But you're going to spend so much time and so much money in the beginning with your sample development. Most people don't have the upfront money to be spending all of this money making samples, 20, 30, 50 samples, full collection. So most people do start out with 5 to 6, and it's totally fine. You don't need to go crazy in the beginning. Great question. Your second question, is there an online service that helps businesses see other brands' sales success per style? For instance, how many black leggings Nike sold last season compared to printed leggings. So not that I know of specifically, and I doubt there is, because this is one of the reasons why everyone loves when they can find someone who has a connection with a buyer, because the buyers know everything that sells and everything that doesn't sell. When I used to work in the industry as a designer, I would always constantly talk to all of the buyers at least once a week to find out what's selling, what's not selling, what colors are people buying, etc. And so a lot of our clients do work with us for that reason, because we know a lot of buyers, because we're still connected with people in the industry, because I came from the industry, so I have an understanding of what typically sells and what doesn't. And so that's why it really makes sense to work with a professional and work with a consultant that's been in the industry that can really help you to figure out what is going to actually sell at the end of the day. It also helps to do small test runs to kind of see. Also, crowdfunding can help you get that feedback up front, or if you do some kind of focus group or some kind of small home party or something in the beginning when you're first getting ready to launch, to kind of figure out what people like, what people don't like, etc., before you actually go into full production. So that is a reason why a lot of clients work with us, because we do have connections with buyers, and we're kind of in the know with what's going on and still kind of selling at the store level. Great question though. And your third question, do agencies that hire social media influencers to promote our brands really work? Yes, absolutely. I am 110% for social media influencers. We even did an entire Facebook Live where we interviewed our influencer marketing coach, Adelaide, who's awesome. She's amazing. She's got tons of connections with great influencers. So I do recommend you go back and watch that episode. It's episode number 46, I believe. So go back and watch that episode. You'll find out a ton of information. And then just understand that we can help you, whether you want to learn how to work with social media influencers, we can coach you on how to do that. Or if you want us to actually work with the social media influencers for you, we have that option as well. So tons of options there. So hopefully that was helpful, Yelena, and thanks for all your great questions. Okay, Jerry has a question. By pieces, what do you mean? A dress, romper is a piece, or just tops and bottoms? So number of pieces in the line, I think you're asking me. Yes, you could go by pieces or you could go by outfits depending on what you're doing. So if you're doing like tops and bottoms, you might want to have, at least one top and one bottom for every look, right? But not necessarily. You could still have 5 pieces and do 3 tops, 2 bottoms, and that would be your 5 pieces right there. You could do a dress, a romper, 2 tops and a bottom, and that bottom can be worn back to both of those tops. So it doesn't have to be a full look. It really, again, usually depends on your budget. Most people don't have the startup budget to be able to do a huge line in the beginning, and so they're just starting out with 5 to 6 pieces. Okay, someone else had a question. Okay, Rosie asked, is grading the same as a marker? A bit confused. Okay, great question, Rosie. No, grading is totally different than what a marker is. And we have an entire online course called Production Like a Pro where we go into really good detail on what grading is, how to set up your grade rules, what a marker is, when to do your grading, when to do your marking, etc. But the gist of it is grading is just taking your base size and making it smaller or bigger to produce the other sizes. A marker is basically a layout. It's kind of like a puzzle piece layout where they're taking all of your sizes and all of the pieces for each size and fitting them into your fabric as closely as possible while maintaining the grain line and the direction that you want to cut that fabric in, whether it's a print or something you're matching it, whatever. So the markers are used for cutting purposes and for production. So let's say you were going to do 50 pieces of a size small and 100 pieces size medium. Your marker would be created in a 2-to-1 ratio, 1 size small for every 2 size mediums, and they would then interlock all the pieces together. They would print out your marker, and then your cutter can just cut without having to think of where they have to actually place each pattern piece or worrying if each pattern piece is actually on grain or not, because everything's already done. It's already perfect on the marker, and all they have to do is lay out the marker paper and they can properly cut your styles. So I hope that helps a little bit. Again, if you do want more information or help on that, I do recommend our Production Like a Pro class. But that's a great question. And then Daniela, I think you had a question in the beginning. I'm going to try to scroll back. Okay. Daniela says, what linings would you say are the best for a better line? Can you name one for woven and one for knits? Oh, wait. One for woven and one for knits. I can't see the rest of it. Is rayon... Daniela, can you retype your question? We have 5 more minutes, guys, so if anyone else has any questions. Is rayon... Okay, I don't know what your rest of your question is. I can't read the rest of it. Okay, but anyway, what linings are best for a better line? So typically better lines use a woven type of lining or a woven stretch lining. So rayon's definitely great. Silk is awesome. A lot of lines will use silk habitai. That's typically what a lot of really, really better lines will use. But it depends how better you're going. And really, again, what you can afford at the end of the day. I've even seen high-end linings, high-end brands use really, really cheap linings like 70 denier, which is very, very common, and everyone's pretty much using it because it's just comfortable. Like at the end of the day, it just works well, it washes well, it's comfortable, it's cheap, and no one really cares anymore. So kind of depends on the garment. You obviously want, typically you want, if your garment is a stretch garment, you want a stretch lining. If your garment is a woven non-stretch garment, you want a non-stretch lining. But that doesn't always typically happen. I've seen woven non-stretch garments like a chiffon maxi dress paired with a stretch lining on the inside, and it's actually super, super comfortable. So it kind of also depends on what kind of style you're doing. If you were doing like high-end evening gowns, then I would say, yeah, don't be putting 70 denier in there. You definitely want to use silk habitai, but it kind of all depends what the style is, what you can afford, and what works the best at the end of the day. So don't get too hung up on that, but I hope that answers your question. All right, awesome. Any other questions, guys, before we get going? Oh, you did put another post. Hold on. Rayon considered cheap looking. No, rayon is not considered cheap looking. Rayon's actually very high end. So yeah, don't worry about that. Most people think polyester is very cheap looking. It doesn't even matter anymore. I've seen so many high-end brands use polyester lining. It's crazy. Okay, Bianca has a question. How do people go about seeking funding for their line in fashion? Oh, we talked about this, Bianca. You missed it. Okay. At what stage can you go to a VC if it's a company? I don't know why I can't see the rest of your questions, guys. I'm having a really hard time. Okay. All right, Bianca, I don't know what the rest of your question is. Sorry, my phone is acting up. But we talked about this in the beginning of this episode, actually. So go back and watch it. The best way to seek funding is crowdfunding, in my opinion. At what stage should you go for an investor or VC? Definitely once you're at the point where you have a ton of sales. That's going to be one of the first questions that they ask you. How much are you selling? What are your sales compared to this year, over last year, etc.? They want to see that you're growing. So if your sales have been stagnant for many years or the same, that's not going to help. They want to see that you've increased over the years, right? And they also want to see that you're actually in a place where you have everything kind of in order, right? You've got your manufacturing in order, you've been shipping, you've kind of proven yourself, right? If you're like all over the place, you're still sourcing fabrics because you haven't figured that out, or you're still trying to get the price down, or you're still sourcing manufacturers, they're not really going to work with you because you're not set up properly. So at what stage can you go to a VC if it's a company rather than a line? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Can you explain? At what stage can you go to a VC if it's a company rather than a line? Your line is your company, so I'm a little confused. Hey, Jarena. Am I saying your name right? Hopefully. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you on. So we are out of time. Unless Bianca can write me back real fast here. The comments are delayed. But I hope everyone got a lot out of this Facebook Live Q&A. We'll do Q&As once a month. So keep the questions coming in. You can always post your questions on Facebook inside the Fearless Fashionpreneur Facebook group. A couple of announcements. If you are looking for some great manufacturers, again, we have our New York City Fashion Manufacturing Tour coming up this Thursday. There are actually 2 spots left because 2 people signed up and then they canceled. So we're actually still open. So people, if you want to come, you better sign up fast. fashiontour15.eventbrite.com. I'll put a link in the bio. Also, next week we will be showing at Tex World. So if you're in the New York City area, definitely stop by, come by our booth, come to our Made in the USA panel discussion that we're going to be doing on Wednesday, July 25th from 11 a.m. to 12. We're going to talk about how to produce a fashion line in America in 2018, where American manufacturing is headed. You're going to hear from 2 of my preferred vendors, manufacturers that are awesome, as well as somebody that's in the garment district. He's on the board of Save the Garment District. So it's going to be a really, really great panel event. You can register for that at fashionangelwarrior.com/events. It is a free event. And next week, we will be doing our Facebook Live again on Tuesday, but we will be doing it at an earlier time because we will be at Tex World. So we're actually going to be doing a cool Facebook Live episode of Tex World and showing you what's at the show. So for those of you who can't make it to Tex World, you can live vicariously through our Facebook Live. So we'll be doing it earlier in the day. It won't be at 7 p.m. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, and we'll be doing a Facebook Live interview in 2 weeks, so get ready for that. All right, love you guys. Hope you got a lot out of tonight. Thanks so much. Bye.